up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're actually gonna go from Los Angeles down to San Diego to do a quick range test. I just charged up the battery last night to about 92%, and in this road trip vlog we're gonna answer the question, how many miles has my Tesla Model 3 degraded, or how many miles has the battery degraded in the past year. I've actually owned this Model 3 for about a year now and I've driven about 14,000 miles. So let's see how many miles has the battery degraded in the 1 year ownership that I've had this Tesla Model 3. Let's get into the video. So you can see I charged it up to 92% last night. In terms of mileage, that's about 273 miles. And San Diego is about 120 miles, give or take, or about 2 hours south of LA. So we should be able to get there and back without having to charge up. So let's see how many miles it takes us to get back down and how much battery we have left when we get there. So this is the dog cover that we use for the back. So you can see it kind of like covers the whole back area. Not really well, but I guess it's better than nothing. We barely fit. We put a bunch of stuff in the trunk, but it's barely enough room to fit all the stuff we have. We only had 2 bags and like a couple backpacks, but it's definitely a tight fit. Oh, come on guys. Come on, go pee, go pee. So here's the trunk. You can see we basically filled it up all the way. 2 suitcases, a backpack, a cooler. It's really filled up to the brim. This one suitcase is pretty big though. That's definitely a check-in, but you can see it took up basically the whole entire trunk. So as you can see, it's pretty much evening time, so we really shouldn't have any sort of traffic on the way down. In terms of optimal speed, I like to keep it around 75 to 80 miles an hour tops. But since there's no traffic, we're gonna try and keep it at 80 miles an hour, even though that's really gonna degrade the battery even further. The one thing I just noticed is that one of my left tires is actually a little bit lower PSI than the other ones. I hope I didn't catch a nail or anything. So I'm probably gonna have to stop by at one of the gas stations to fill up some air. And of course, whenever I want to get on the camera, Steve wants to get on the camera too. Steve, how's the trip so far? Is it to satisfactory to your liking? Nice and comfortable?
Where do you come from? Where do you come from? Oh, you gotta fly out. You gotta fly out of the car.
All right, Steve, you gotta get back there. Steve, you gotta get back.
Oh, Stevie. Oh, good.
So if you remember, we started with about 92% of the battery, and it's saying we're gonna arrive with about 46% of the battery. Thanks for watching another video, guys. If you're new here, my name is Dennis. I picked up this Tesla Model 3 about a year ago, and I make videos about my experience. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. So we're about halfway to San Diego. We got about another 48 miles or 49 minutes to go, and we have about 184 miles left on the battery. Looks like we're gonna arrive with 44% instead of 45%. So we're definitely not gonna have enough battery to get back up to Los Angeles. So we're either gonna have to find a public charger, or we're gonna have to find a Tesla Supercharger, or you're gonna have to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Oh look, a Model Y. We just drove that yesterday. It's a performance one too. right, so here's the tire in question that's a little bit lower than all the other tires. 41 PSI and the other ones are 46 PSI after driving on the highway for a little bit. Can't really see if there's any nails or anything in there. I guess I won't be able to see at all. Let's go ahead and fill up with air and then see how long the air stays in the tire. It's filled up now and we have another 20 minutes to get to our destinations. Let's see how quickly the air leaks out from 45 to 46 PSI. Tesla Supercharger. No. Did I not put it in park? Does this supercharger work? There we go, starting to charge. So we basically arrived in San Diego at the San Diego Supercharger with 37% of the battery left. So we definitely wouldn't have made it back up to Los Angeles without charging at all. This supercharger is a 150 kilowatt supercharger, so it should charge up pretty quickly. I'm gonna charge it to about 90%, and that should give us enough mileage for the rest of the week before we head back to Los Angeles. Yeah, so it's a 150 kilowatt supercharger and it's getting up to 125 to 130 kilowatts. So we're getting pretty much full charge at about 540 miles an hour. So the one thing I did want to talk about was battery degradation. I've had this Tesla Model 3 for about a year now. I bought it in August of 2019. And I used to remember the days when I would charge it to 100% and I would get like 310 to 311 miles of range. And even when I charged it to about 90%, I would still get about 280 miles of range, if not more. But now after 14,000 miles of highway use and pretty much 90% highway use and a little bit of a city, I'm now down to about 294 miles at 100% range and 266 miles at about 90% range, which used to be 280. I've been tracking my car ever since I purchased it, and Teslafy says that's about a 6% loss or 19-mile loss over the past year. I'll put the results on the screen so you can take a look yourself. But this is really worrying because I've only had it for about a year, and if this keeps going for the next year and the year after with this battery degradation, it could get even worse, and the range might not be 310 or even 380 anymore. It could be even less, 260. Fingers crossed. It's definitely not as significant this first year, but year 2 or year 3, if it gets even worse, it's definitely going to be significant. Great time to walk your corgis when your car is supercharging. What's that? What's that? What's that? Go potty. He's gonna sprain his ankle. So of course, in true supercharger fashion, as we get closer to the full battery, the charge speed starts to reduce from like 150 down to like 41 kilowatts. We've been here for about 30 minutes or so, and we've added about 154 miles of range at a cost of $12.40. And as you can see, the battery is about 90%, and it only shows that we have about 263 miles of range. We used to get about 280 miles of range at 90%, and now we only get 264 miles of range. So the battery degradation is actually pretty significant in only 1 year, and hopefully this won't get any worse in the next year. So now we're gonna go check out our Airbnb in San Diego, and we'll see you there. So we just got to San Diego. It took us about like what, 4 to 5 hours to get down here just because we had a couple different stops. But let me know your guys' thought on the battery degradation after 1 year, and if you guys have experienced the same thing with your Model 3s, or even if you think it's acceptable. Hopefully the battery holds its range over the next few years and it doesn't decrease anymore, but I guess we'll see. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!